Welcome to Alice Just Alice 55. You're listening to an AI-narrated audiobook version of my original story, The Unclaimed Werewolf, an Unbound Wolves novel, written by Alice N. Smith. Chapter 22, Where the Blood Tells. The scent reached them before the sound did. 2 scouts were running the outer line in wolf form, covering ground in long, efficient strides, when the trail cut sharp across their path, panic sour and copper bright, dragged and broken where it shouldn't have been. One of them snapped his head up mid-run. They slowed, circling once as both dropped their muzzles low. Blood. The second scout drew a deeper breath, sorting layers without breaking stride. He clearly smelled the scent of a male werewolf and then female blood. They exchanged a glance and surged forward together. The trail was careless. No attempt at masking, no attention to wind. Whoever had made it was running hard and not thinking past the next breath. Blood marked the path in uneven smears, the rhythm faltering where the runner stumbled, recovered, and stumbled again. Fear rode the scent. So did shame. They gained on him quickly. The injury slowed him, his gait uneven, one hind leg favoring as he pushed forward on adrenaline alone. His breathing rasped loud enough to carry ahead of him now, desperation eroding any remaining caution. They fanned slightly as they closed, flanking without rushing, letting the forest narrow his options for them. When they caught sight of him, it was from behind. He was hunched and limping, fur matted dark along his shoulder, blood slick and fresh where it smeared with each step. He didn't hear them until the wind shifted. He glanced back. Too late. The first scout lunged low and fast, slamming into his side with crushing weight. The impact sent them both skidding through leaf litter as the second scout hit a heartbeat later, jaws snapping shut around the suitor's scruff. The suitor yelped and twisted, snapping wildly, but pain slowed him and panic ruined his aim. The first scout rolled, came up, and planted his weight squarely across the suitor's shoulders, forcing him flat. The second tightened his grip just enough to make the message unmistakable. Still, the suitor went still, not compliant, beaten. They held him there for several breaths, ensuring the adrenaline burned off and the struggle drained out of him completely. Then the first scout shifted. Bone flowed. Fur receded. Human hands replaced paws as he knelt beside the pinned wolf, movements quick and practiced. The second followed suit a moment later, releasing his grip only once restraints were ready. The suitor shifted last, the change leaving him gasping and shaking in the dirt. Blood immediately visible along his shoulder where fur no longer hid it. "Don't," he rasped. "I didn't save it," one scout said flatly as they secured him. "You ran." The restraints tightened. The first scout leaned in, scenting deliberately. "Whose blood is that?" The suitor swallowed hard. He didn't answer. He didn't need to. The female's scent clung to him, fresh and unmistakable, layered over his own like a stain that wouldn't wash out. It didn't belong on him. It didn't belong anywhere near this side of the border. They hauled him upright. "Move," the second scout said. They didn't hurry on the return. They didn't need to. The suitor couldn't run like this, and there was nowhere worth running to anyway. Every step carried the truth of what he'd done deeper into Packland. The camp lights were low when they arrived. Evening routines had settled in, the pack easing toward rest, unaware of the weight about to be dropped into their midst. Alpha Brooks was already awake. He stepped out of the central shelter at the sound of approach, eyes narrowing as he took in the scene in a single glance, the restraints, the blood, the way the suitor wouldn't lift his head. Brooks didn't ask for explanations first. "Report," he said. The first scout straightened. "We picked him up on the outer line. He was running, injured." Brooks' gaze flicked to the suitor's shoulder, then to the scouts themselves, nostrils flaring slightly as he caught what scent still clung to them. "And the blood," Brooks said. The second scout swallowed once. "Some of it isn't his." The night seemed to tighten. Brooks stepped closer, stopping just short of the suitor. He didn't bare his teeth. He didn't raise his voice. "Say it." The scout met his eyes. "It's hers." For a moment, nothing moved. Then something cold settled behind Brooks' eyes, quiet, focused, and unmistakably dangerous. "Where?" he said. "Inside her territory." The suitor found his voice at last, thin and cracking. "She attacked me." Brooks turned his head slightly. The sound that followed wasn't loud. It was final. The suitor went silent. Brooks looked back at the scouts. "Who else knows?" "No one yet," the first scout said. "We came straight here." "Good," Brooks replied. He turned to the suitor at last, gaze dropping to the blood crusting his skin. "You will be held, you will be questioned, and you will not speak to anyone else until I decide what happens to you." The suitor nodded frantically. Brooks didn't acknowledge it. "Get him secured," he said. "Clean the trail. I don't want panic traveling faster than the truth." The scouts moved at once. Brooks remained where he was, staring into the dark where the trees pressed close around the camp. His jaw was tight now, breath measured, every line of him drawn inward. Female blood inside her land. He turned sharply and headed for his quarters, already issuing orders to the sentries without breaking stride. "Wake Arden," he said, "and have a runner ready." This was no longer a matter of management. It was a breach. And whatever waited on the other side of that forest line, Brooks intended to reach it before the council did.